Let's go out to Jacksonville once again. Pete Prisco and Rick Spielman. Pete and Rick, you both had a chance to talk on camera and off camera with Trevor Lawrence. What did you take from the time that you had with Trevor today?
Well, he's a much more confident quarterback, that's for sure. I mean, you could see it on the field and you can hear it in his voice. And let's be fair to the kid. Last year was a disaster. It was awful all the way around. It was a bad offense. It was a bad system with bad players and a bad coach. And you had that all together, and he had a bad season. I mean, for a rookie, it was not very good. But it's all new now, and he seems like a much different guy. And I can tell you this with 100% certainty. Guys I talk to around this team say he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and I asked him about that. And he didn't deny it because he wants to prove to people that he's the same guy who was the first overall pick in the draft.
Yeah, when you're watching him and you're watching him in practice, it's confidence, not cockiness. And that's a big difference because he is still listening what Doug Peterson and Mike McCoy are instructing. He is going through this offense, and he is layering on day after day, one good practice after another. So he's going to be, I think, have a really big year.
You're going over those totals now from yesterday, aren't you? You're changing your mind.
Yeah, Pete loves the over on Trevor Lawrence passing yards and the over on passing touchdowns. Have not seen the prop for interceptions. He's hoping to keep it far below 17 this upcoming season. Let's talk some other second-year quarterbacks. 4 others taken after Lawrence in the first round. Mac Jones is one of them. And I don't know if you guys had a chance to hear or read what Bill Belichick had to say about Jones today, but Pete, he said Jones has shown dramatic improvement so far in camp.
Yeah, and I think he's improved in the way he looks, too. And that was one of the biggest things with him. Remember, he was a frail quarterback, and he changed his diet, and he put on weight, and he looks like a different quarterback. I will hearken to say that he struggled last year late in the season. I mean, you got to go back, and if you go back and watch the tape, down the stretch, he had real issues, and he wasn't the same quarterback. Now, they don't have a ton of weapons on the outside either, so that hindered him. But he has to show me that what we saw at the second half of the season isn't who he is, and he's more like the guy from the first half.
And I think they were very conservative with him last year and wanted to make sure that they were able to move the offense but not have a lot of turnovers. And I think he will take a leap a second year, but I don't know if he's going to leap as high as people think without a Josh McDaniels there coaching him and being the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, McDaniels now the head coach of the Vegas Raiders. Let's stay in the AFC East with Zach Wilson, another second-year quarterback, a guy who has made more waves off the field than he has on it so far. But what can he do in year 2, Pete? That the Jets used a couple of their top picks on a wide receiver and a likely starting running back.
Yeah, and they're going to be better around him. But if you go back to his season a year ago, he struggled early on, kind of got a little bit better in the middle, and he came on late. And that's a good sign for a quarterback. If it had been the other way, which is why I have a little concern about Mac Jones, he really started to play better in the second or latter part of the season. He looked like a different quarterback. So I think he's going to be much improved this year. The concern with him is height. He's a little quarterback. He has a hard time at times seeing over the line of scrimmage.
And the one thing, he'll be the second year in Mike LaFleur's offense, and so he's going to know that better. They have, and I thought Joe Douglas did a great job getting some weapons around him. I think the one thing that he had to learn is when you watched his BYU tape coming out, I called him there was a lot of Rodeo Joe type plays where you can't make those type of plays in the NFL because the athletes are too elite here. So I think that he will take a jump this year as well, but he had to learn the hard way on you just can't go out there and just throw the ball just to throw the ball. You have to have some purpose, and you have to know what you can get away with and what you can't.
Rodeo Joe.
Rodeo Joe.
Like Rodeo Joe. How about Rodeo Justin Fields, new head coach in Chicago, but he lost Allen Robinson. Have the Bears done nearly enough to set him up for more success in year 2?
No, they have not. And if you look at their offensive line, it's a major concern. Might be starting a rookie at left tackle. That's a problem. After probably blowing a pick on a tackle last year, they don't have enough weapons. I think Mooney's a good player on the outside, but they don't have enough around him. I think they've set him up for failure. I really do. I don't think they've done enough around him. Now, I know it's a new staff and a new regime there, but they got to do more to help him. They have done very little to help Justin Fields, who I think can actually become a really good quarterback, but you got to help the kid.
Yeah, and it's a different situation it is down here. They went out and hired a defensive head coach, and I think he's going to be a great head coach. And then they brought in Luke Getsy, who was a quarterback coach at Green Bay, who worked with Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think Justin Fields is Aaron Rodgers yet. And when you watched in the draft, they went a lot of defense, and you would think Justin Fields going into his second year, you want to get some weapons around him. I think they just traded for Harry from New England, and then they added
It's not a
St.
weapon.
Brown. No, neither of them are
No.
proven. And Moon is the only true playmaker that they have on the offense. The other thing is, the best thing Justin Fields does is when you get him outside the pocket and limit his ability to have to read coverages. So if he's got go to first receiver, then the second receiver, those are two options. If not, then use your legs to make plays. So I'm going to be interested to see if this Green Bay offense really fits his skill set.
We're talking second-year expectations for quarterbacks who were taken in the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft. And you can make the case that Trey Lance is still basically a rookie, and he might have more around him. He's got a team that made it to the NFC title game a season ago, but he's expected to take over for Jimmy Garoppolo. But what can we really expect after what little we saw last season?
You know, it's interesting because I'm such a film junkie that I went back and watched all of Trey Lance's starts last week before camp, and I was really disappointed with what I saw. And this is a guy who has a lot of talent, but didn't get through his progressions, didn't get through his reads, and he's got to be better at that. They make it easy on a quarterback in that San Francisco offense. So, you know, you get him on the boots, you make the throws easy, you get guys coming back across the grain when you get your running game going, make easy throws. I think he'll be able to do that. What my concern is, can he put his foot in the ground, go through his progressions, and fire into the middle of the field? I don't know that. He doesn't show that yet. They also have concerns. You know, you talk about a loaded team. Yeah, they're loaded, but their offensive line is in flux. The interior of the offensive line is a problem for them this year, and that could be an issue all the way around.
Yeah, and that year he was probably had a lot of potential, but he came out of North Carolina State, and they weren't a throwing offense. They were a run-first type offense and then set up the play action. And a lot of questions about his overall accuracy when he did come out. But when you see what Kyle Shanahan does, they're going to run the ball. They're going to play really good defense. So it takes a little bit of pressure off Trey Lance. And I think, you know, if they can get Garoppolo to get them all the way to the NFC Championship game, and I can't remember a game watching Green Bay that they go into Green Bay and they don't score an offensive touchdown and still win the game. So it'll be interesting to see if they slowly feed him and not put all that pressure on him to make the plays and let the playmakers they have on the offensive side and play great defense so they feel he has more confidence in him to go run the offense.
Trade it up to go get him. He better have a good year.
Third overall out of FCS North Dakota State for Trey Lance, and now expected to be the starter and maybe take this team further than Jimmy Garoppolo did, which would be a lot to ask because that would be winning a Super Bowl. Pick Six Podcast is keeping you up to date with everything going on in training camps. Will Brinson, host of the program, his latest episode really focusing on the AFC East. Brinson and Tyler Sullivan tackling the burning questions there, including a deep dive on what Tua needs to do this season in Miami.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.